All right. So as time has gone on and I've gotten more politically active, I used to like Hasan. I used to watch him a lot. Recently, he's been really disappointing. He's taken ever since Russia invaded Ukraine, wrongfully invaded Ukraine, may I add. But ever since Russia invaded Ukraine, he's gotten kind of worse. He's become more tanky adjacent, and I think it is because he lacks the ability to believe in his head, in his heart, that he can be incorrect about something. I don't think Hassan exactly knows why he believes certain things. I do fully believe he's progressive. I do fully believe he has beliefs that align with progressive values. I just don't think he fully knows why he has those beliefs. I don't think he can fully argue for those beliefs. And he's showcased this by becoming more and more tanky adjacent with time. And it's kind of sad to see because he was a very large figure on the left. He's a very good figure on the left. He is a net good to what the left is doing. But it seems like ever since the invasion of Ukraine, his foreign policy has gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now he's just kind of like a China simp. He's a Russia simp. Which is bad because those are both far right countries. But anyways, I think I have the right timestamp. If not, we can look around. But here we go. We got H3H3 and Hasan talking about China. One of them is correct.
A touch of
He's
authority.
raised up, dude.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
raised up.
Honey the Pooh ass looking motherfucker. You get put to death by
Honey the
saying
Pooh.
that in China. Winnie the Pooh. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I don't think they kill
Yeah,
you.
bro. They throw you to underground cell. And
I saw that on Reddit. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's true.
I get all my information on China from Reddit.
Yeah.
All right, anyway,
feel
here's
like-
Trump.
It's brilliant. Everyone says, oh, that's terribly
Never
cool.
wrong.
Well, he runs 1.4 billion people. Like this.
Hollywood.
Yeah, how he can get away with saying
That's a fact.
Well, I mean, I don't know how he can get away with saying any of this, to be honest. Like I am really shocked by this. Very mad at. Imagine
Let me get to the fucking
lore
timestamp.
around everything they does. They have to infer, they have to create their own lore around everything they does. They're probably like, this is 5D chess. He's just buttering him up for this big plan he's got to dominate
Right.
China.
But he's done this
Okay,
so many
looks like-
times. Like he
looks
did it
like
with
they talk a lot
Duterte.
here.
We
Yeah,
already
love
have a
the facial
credit score.
recognition.
And then on top of that, like we get none of the high speed rail. We get none of the even
Okay. Yeah.
stuff. I mean,
I knew you would be a China simp.
Oh, I mean, I'm openly a China simp. I think that the saddest part about
You
it is
would
that
be.
we never get like any of the good stuff that China's doing, and only look at the bad stuff that they're doing, and then implement those things. Like America already.
I will say there is truth to this. There are some things that China is doing that are good, such as implementation of high-speed rail. However, they are not, by and large, doing that within West China. They are saving it for the mixed market zone, capitalist zone of China, East China. I mean, of course, that is where the majority of people live. I believe it's where the majority of people live, at least by space per capita, whatever, you know.
He has a surveillance state, similar to the Chinese surveillance state. We
Yeah,
already have
love
a
the facial
credit score.
recognition.
And then on top of that, like we get none of the high speed rail. We get none of the even development.
Public housing,
We get none of the Chinese prosperity measures.
massive middle class.
No billionaires are punished ever, right? No government officials that are engaged in corruption are punished ever alongside the billionaires.
It's true. I think it's true. It is pretty incredible what China's done.
I don't know about that. China's billionaires get punished because they go against the will of the state. They don't get punished because they are too rich. They get punished because the state feels threatened by them.
On
Yeah.
the past 50 years. It's almost like miraculous what's happened there.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
saw a Chinese guy saying like people don't talk about like the fact that like I don't know what's the number, but like 60% of Chinese peasants in the last 50 years were pulled out into middle class.
Yeah.
Everybody's life has vastly improved.
They do talk about it. They just hide it. They always, like the World Economic Forum or the World Bank will come out with a report and they'll be like, capitalism is the greatest system of all time. Look at the billions of people that have been lifted out of poverty.
China's not exactly not a capitalist.
No. They, of course, they are complete state run. They have a unique, well, in their words, the transitional socialist state. That much.
No, it's not. Has the number of billionaires in China increased as well over the past 2 decades? I do not know about that. Let me see. Number of Chinese billionaires. Let's see. 495 according to Forbes. The second most billionaires in the world. For a self-proclaimed transitionary socialist state. I would get to work on that. Well, let me see. Let me get if I can get a graph. Ooh, wow. That's a lot of billionaires, and that's a lot of recent billionaires. I don't think I'm open to be proven wrong on this because I am speaking from ignorance. I'm gonna fully admit that. I do not think that China's wealth disparity is as fucking terrible as ours. But I think it's stupid to pretend there are no Chinese homeless people. Of course. Fascinating. I agree. Concerning.
I don't know how true that is, right? But
it's not true at all. China is a capitalist state through and through.
Said that, the reason for their prosperity is directly a consequence of what they did with the influx of foreign capital, right? Because
what they did was they opened mixed market zones within East China to encourage foreign businesses and foreign money, which is what directly we're referring to here. Foreign businesses and foreign money into their shit. If we didn't have that, we would have never had mixed market China. We would have never had modern China as we know it. It would have just been like a fucking limping state, as it still is, but now it's limping, but it's going a little faster.
Plenty of nations get foreign capital and don't engage in even development, urbanization, increasing literacy, focusing on education.
And China did this, but in East China. They didn't do it in West China at all. Again, I'm kind of speaking from ignorance, just like I was last time, but this is as I know.
Education programs. And China still has plenty of issues, especially in the healthcare sector. They have a lot of problems. And obviously, civil liberties, that's a big point of contention as well. But overall, the reason why they've been able to do this is because they have implemented plenty of measures that you absolutely could, even by European standards, consider social democratic principles.
It's pretty incredible.
That's just not true. China has become more capitalist with time. Under Mao, you could argue that there was some communist principles. I would say that the communist principles were overwhelmed by the fascism of Mao. But you could argue that the old guard communist of sorts government that is, I believe, now Taiwan, with real China, you could argue that this helped China, which it did. It did help. Okay, I've kind of lost the plot here. Hold on.
Absolutely could, even by European standards.
Okay, you could argue that the implementation of communism helped China. China has a resource to fix their healthcare, just like America. It isn't an issue of figuring out yet. Yeah, literally just like make the healthcare public and then make the doctors government payroll. That's pretty much it, yeah? And also make pharmacies public. But the problem with China isn't that it isn't communist. Or isn't that it is communist. The thing with China is that it's not. It just pretends to be. China is the least communist state, or the second least communist state ever. you have the USSR still, but China is the same way of same way. China is communist, the same way that America is communist, in which it isn't. It is a capitalist country with more state planning towards its capitalism, but it's still capitalism.
It's considered social democratic.
Holy shit, it took me a long time to get that one out.
Principles.
It's pretty incredible, honestly.
Yeah.
And he goes, of course the people of China like Xi. Like, he's improved everybody's life there
Yeah.
dramatically. I was like, okay, fair enough. You know what I mean?
Chinese people I talk to, well, once they're done being shocked that I'm not actually being sarcastic whenever I talk about China, will often say that it's well established. Everybody understands that there are certain things you can't say in even private settings. And as long as you keep your head down, there is a cultural understanding that the government is taking care of you, and that like the wonderful prosperity that you have experienced, that your grandparents and your parents have experienced, is very real, it's very noticeable. And you have this mentality where, like, as long as you don't rock the boat, as long as you don't say the
Winnie the Pooh.
That's like a sillier version of that. But like, as long as you're not.
I should be able to rock the boat though. I'm an American, okay? And I should be able to call Joe Biden whatever the fuck I want to. And if you take away my right to call Joe Biden an ancient weirdo with decent politics, then I do not, I don't want to live here anyways. But you take away my right to call Joe Biden an ancient weirdo with decent politics, no thanks.
Not openly.
People should be able to openly criticize their government, even if they are incorrect about it. Freedom of speech is a human right that should exist for everyone. It's sad that it doesn't, and it's sad that we're doing apologia for it.
And heavily critical in ways of like the local governance or the CCP or Xi Jinping, then you have this shared understanding
That is kind of a
they
big
got
deal,
your back.
though. I mean, I don't think we should downplay the absolute lack of free speech there.
Oh no, I'm not downplaying that at all.
But
there's a reason why I don't live in China and I live in America. You know what I mean?
Do you have a choice?
I would live in China, 100%. I want to go to China so bad.
Can people move to China? Americans?
It's entirely dependent on, I guess, your relationship with businesses there. Yeah, there's plenty of people that go and live there for extended periods of time. They work there.
Go to China.
You fake
I want
ass,
to.
grifter,
Fake
dog
commie
shit,
ad.
moron,
Thank
motherfucker.
you, XQC. You took the words right out of my mouth.
I do want to go. My fear is, I may or may not have said some things about Xinjiang back in the day that are not.
You think they're waiting for you?
No, but like from what I understand, I would just like have my visa denied probably before I ever step foot. On
And I got to say,
territory.
that's impressive bureaucracy. If they can be like, this guy talked shit 20 years ago, visa denied. That's
Not
impressive.
even 20 years ago, though.
I'm just saying,
you
you got to give it up to the boy.
Yeah. I am critical of
everything
certain
perfect.
aspects of China, which you can't really.
Don't they have Uyghur death camps? Is that?
It's not a death camp. They were re-education camps, and they are no longer in operation.
Is that
according
true?
to the Associated Press?
Okay.
So, okay. I saw this clip. There is truth to the Uyghur re-education camp, and there was abuse going on there. You could even say it was, a bit of a concentration camp, where they would round up Uyghur Muslim people and re-educate them and work them, and allegedly beat them. I don't know if that was ever proven. It was kind of, there's evidence of it, but I don't think it was ever proven. I don't know, but yes, this has been propagandized against China. But the reason it has been propagandized isn't because it is untrue, it is because there is some truth to it. Of course, there was no, fucking, death camps where the Chinese government was rounding people up and, shooting them. But there is some truth there is a lot of truth, even, to Uyghur Muslims being mistreated within China. Hasan is soft here on the same exact issues. In America, his head would grow 3 times in size out of anger. I completely agree. I think it would be a very great thought experiment to get Hasan to talk back to back about the Uyghur Muslim re-education camps. I'm just gonna say concentration camps. I think it would be a very fun thought experiment to get him to talk about the Uyghur Muslim concentration camps, and then, like maybe an hour later, get him to talk about the Japanese or the American concentration camps of Japanese people. I think it would be a very fun thought experiment.
I saw this.
But yeah,
In fact, if there's a clip of him talking about the Japanese internment camps, I would love to see it because I would love to see the dichotomy here. I would love to see how it changes based on his kind of America bad brain rot, which is a shame because I used to like Hasan, but as he's become like more just like Burt Gur America bad, it's fallen off.
Crazy documentary, and I don't know. I don't know the surrounding narrative or anything about it, but it was about there was doctors in the area. They would be able to procure organs.
No, no.
I'm telling you, they were in China with
dog, that one is like Shen Yun,
they're like, we
Falun
can
Gong.
get you an organ from a Uyghur. But why is that? Is that really that crazy?
No, there is no. You're not wrong. There is actually a black market for organs, or was a black market for organs, 100%. It's not exclusive to Uyghurs, and it's propagandized heavily.
But yeah, just like concentration camps weren't exclusive to Jews. It's just like, the majority of them.
It's obviously fucked up, but it was propagandized heavily by Falun Gong, which is a psychotic, reactionary, insane cult. The ones that operate the Shen Yun. You know what I'm talking about?
Do you know about?
By the way, I'm not coming out in support of, Falun Gong here, because they are, like you said, a fucking insane far-right reactionary cult. I'm just saying that propaganda, the best propaganda has truth to it. And that is why during World War II, World War I, any major conflict, if you see the enemy do anything bad, it will be shoved down your face. Like, fuck, I can't think of any prevalent examples right now, but, there's a couple. There's a lot.
About Shenyun?
You know what Shenyun is? Like,
Is
what
that-
is it, 5,000?
Okay, I have an example. The American carpet bombing of Japan was heavily propagandized by the Japanese government because what America did was bad, was morally incorrect to do, and a lot of things we did in Japan were morally incorrect. However, Japan was the net worse here. So the Japanese government highly propagandized the firebombs, and they used it to evangelize their populace. That's a prevalent example.
That was hold on. That was the show on Netflix where he.
No,
Sorry.
I don't know what you're going for here, but nope.
No,
this. Do you ever see these billboards all around LA?
It's like Glendale.
Oh, that's a vibe. China before communism.
Yeah, they're like the cult that puts this show on is like pretty wild.
What's wrong with China before communism?
Well,
Great
they
branding.
are the guys that make it, and the guys that the guys that like bake propaganda into Shenyun are pretty insane. Like they think that nuclear reactors were actually found in China before communism, that miscegenation should be illegal, no race mixing. They're not too fond of gay people. They're pretty
As I understand, he's entirely correct here.
crazy
Par
guys.
for the course.
Yeah, and of course they get funding and at least like the
So
go ahead by
you're
the CIA.
saying the whole Uyghur thing is propaganda or mostly propagandized?
No. I'm not saying that. I do think that they engaged. So it's tricky territory.
Of course, it is propaganda. I'm conceding that. It is propaganda. That doesn't make it incorrect, though. The fact that something is propagandized doesn't mean that the propaganda is necessarily wrong. I think that the negative connotation we have towards the word propaganda is very harmful. In fact, I think the word propaganda shouldn't be used in the way that it is. to where it's a sort of catch-all term for everything bad that a government advertises, I guess. Propaganda isn't a net good, or it isn't a bad, or it isn't a good. It is a tool, and it's a tool that can be used in a bad or a good way, the same way that a wrench can be used to tighten or loosen a bolt. You can loosen the bolt, or you can tighten it, you know? There's two options. You can use propaganda badly, which has been done before, or you can use propaganda in a good way, which also has been done before. But of course, propaganda is by nature exploitative. I want to get that out of the way. Propaganda is exploitative by nature.
To get into, because
the CCP banned effeminate men from being presented in the media a few years ago. So China as a whole has LGBTQ issues still. Yeah. I mean, I think this specific cult is worse though, because you know they're explicitly anti all LGBT. But I'm not saying that's good. That is definitely bad. That's a bad thing.
Every state does.
So that cult is absolutely the worst. Yeah.
Awful things, and the Chinese state certainly has. The mass surveillance state in Xinjiang, the Uyghur Muslims and the constant surveillance they were placed under, and that is still ongoing for the record. And the re-education camps were completely fucked up. But as far as I understand, their goal in like wiping out any kind of separationist attitude has been successful in that now Xinjiang is not necessarily Hanified, but at least like their cultural components are considered something that you can observe as like a tourist destination rather than a legitimate stake in autonomy or any kind of like separation from the Chinese state.
Here's Hasan trying to get his.
I'm gonna be real. It's kind of over my head. I don't got anything to say here. I'm sure if I was more educated on the subject, I would. But as of right now, it's just kind of over my head.
Visa.
No, I would never do that.
Rough.
I would never do that.
Looks dicey out there.
I would never do that.
Make the rich pay. You would wear that in China. Anyway, shout out Uyghurs, I guess. Hopefully.
Yeah, I do think that they absolutely have and operated re-education camps, which is not great. That's really fucked up. The common but it's as if it's everything that China or any other foreign adversary the United States does that is like greatly emphasized and hyper focused on as though it's like unique to the country itself. Like, for example, prisons in our foreign adversary nations are called labor camps, even though America objectively has more prisoners per capita than every single one of these countries, including China, or has a way more draconian prison system where there's slavery inside of our prison system that's constitutionally allowed.
Both of these things can be true. America can be bad, and which it is, and at the same time, another country can be bad as well. There's no good and there's no evil. There are certain aspects in which America is pretty damn evil. There's certain aspects in which America is pretty damn good. There's certain aspects in which I don't know, the Congo, the DPRC, Democratic People's Republic of the Congo, is bad. There's a lot of ways that it is fucking evil. And there's a lot of ways, not a lot, but there are ways in which it is good. With each of these countries, with each of these very unique states, there are gives and takes. And it shouldn't be like that. Every state should be good, I believe. But that's just not realistic within our current world framework, sadly.
They'll open up museums, and the New York Times will write an article about how like their museums are engaging in whitewashing their atrocious crimes throughout history. And it's like, well, that's precisely what our museums do.
Can I ask you something? It seems amongst socialists like yourself, there's like I feel like y'all are overly generous to China.
Some people are.
Okay, I believe Ethan is like a social democrat, by the way, just to get like his politics out there. But he's definitely on the left. I wouldn't say he's right leaning. He's definitely on the left, but he's probably a social democrat.
I don't think I am. I look.
He's. I don't think I'm too kind. I don't think I'm generous to China. I just agree with them.
Look at the bad and I look at the good.
Like I'm sure that they are. I mean, they're definitely over.
I don't think it's appropriate to put
fuck, I can't think.
Like hundreds of thousands of people under mass surveillance and like have government handlers, and you just like completely erode any kind of like sensitive cultural difference that they might have from the Han Chinese population, and just like forcibly remove that, like excise it like it's an aberration. I think that's like completely. I think that that's completely unacceptable.
I was trying to say they are obviously heavily propagandized, okay? But, and you know, I just feel like sometimes when I talk to socialists, they're just trying too hard to defend China. That's all.
Sure. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of people within the left, I'll say, the quote-unquote left, who will just simp for China. And this ashamedly does apply to Hasan too. I don't think he's as bad as it. I think his ignorance around certain things catches up to him, and it shows in his tanky tendencies.
There are definitely people that go overboard and will. My metric is this, okay?
However, I don't believe that just saying China bad is good either. I believe that actually systemically critiquing China and reflecting on the systems and applying them to an American framework and seeing what is similar, what is dissimilar, how one is bad, one is good, one is worse, one is still bad, one is better, one is still good, yada yada yada. I think there is value to comparing the two because they are both, as of right now, the prevalent powers of the world, and discounting the EU as a whole. But they're, as of right now, the prevalent powers of the world, and I don't think there's anything wrong with drawing comparisons to each other because they are incredibly similar states, incredibly similar nations. I think China is a little bit worse than the United States when it comes to social things, but when it comes to economics, they're a little bit better. You know, I think America is a little bit better socially. You know, we're not as homophobic, we're not as bad, but we're still pretty bad. But anyways, that's about it. Hasan's been kind of disappointing lately. Hopefully he becomes normal.
Yeah. Going around, stop. Just be honest with me, you feel it's not enough. I got no service right now, my bad, you breaking up. I hear you cry on the phone, and it's breaking me, fuck. Going around.